We need some mad preachers. We need some indignant Christians. We need somebody to say, this is wrong. Now, what can we do? What's the answer? I'm skipping a lot of this. Read the book if you want the rest of it. 1, teenagers, break or destroy every record, every picture, and every magazine you have that has anything to do with these revolutionary singing groups. Don't give them away. Somebody might use them. Burn them. Break them. Destroy them. Put them in the garbage can. Get rid of the magazines. By the way, let me just stop and say again, I'm a little sick of these religious groups taking different words and putting it to the beat. Now listen to me. I think the beat's sinful. I think the beat. I mean the beat. I mean the rock music. I don't care if it's to Amazing Grace. Use the old-fashioned beat to Amazing Grace, too. I was in Rockford, Illinois, preaching to a big Sunday school convention. 1,100 people registered. The mayor of the town was there. I was sitting right here about ready to preach. And they had a music group to sing from a certain college over in Chicago. And a bunch of long-haired fellows got up with some of these old outgrown guitars and come up over your head and they started beating on that thing, doing like that. And they sang about the old man upstairs, about somebody up yonder that loves me, and everybody, and beat that for crazy things and jived it like a bunch of people in a nightclub. And that's destroying America. You say, we get the young people. No, you're not. The devil's already got you. We're not trying to get young people. Who ever heard that our job's to get young people? Our job's to change young people. To get them? We're not trying to count a bunch of numbers. We're trying to change a bunch of lives. I was over in Chicago one night speaking at Moody Church to a child evangelism convention. I went up in the auditorium early. Youth for Christ was having a rally there. And a bunch of Youth for Christ kids were up there. It sounded just like one of these pop radio stations. Now listen for a while. Now, by the way, this was not Moody Church. The pastor knew nothing about this. But they were singing music that had the same tempo and the same beat that the Rolling Stones, Jefferson Airplanes, the Beatles all use. Throw them away. Get rid of them. Burn them. What can you do? Number 2, parents, don't allow such trash to be played in your home. I mean, don't allow it on television. Don't allow it on radio. But you say, well, it's causing friction in our home. Well, you pull the trousers down of that teenage kid and you cause some friction in his home. That's one reason why you've got friction in your home. I dare my boy to say to me, well, you just don't treat me right. Well, he's never had such wrong treatment he's about to have. Parents, don't allow it. And you better be careful about some of these shows like Johnny Carson, Merv Griffith, and this other fellow's on, Mike Douglas and others, and watching these shows, and because these shows are full of this kind of garbage and trash. Number 3, don't allow gospel words sung to a jungle beat. Number 4, get your children in a church like this. You know what? If I live anywhere near this church, and I came and I heard a sermon like this with children, I'd say to myself, boy, that's where I want my kids to go. That's where I want my kids to go. I want my kids to hear that. I want my kids to know something about good music, and I want my kids to know that rock music is heathen. Get your children in a church like this. Number 5, not only take away the bad music, but put good music in your home. Dedicate yourself to not being conformed to this world, but being transformed by the renewing of your mind, in order that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So that you say, well, I like it. I like it. That never has and never will be an excuse for doing it. There have been times when I wanted to kill Dr. Billings, too, but I didn't do it. Brother Fisk is going to take care of that for me. But I like it. It's no excuse for heathenism. It's no excuse for wrong. It's no excuse for worldliness, and it's no excuse for rock music. The time has come, and God's people are going to have to put up or shut up, get in, get out, get hot, get cold, get off, get on, and decide whether you're for God or the devil's crowd. I mean, listen, brother, the fence, you can no longer straddle between the world and Christ. The breach is just too wide. You're going to get the splits. And the time has come when God's people are going to have to stand up and speak, sing, smell, act, talk, drink, everything else like God's people, and be glad we're God's people. And the time has come, we're going to have to say to this old world, we're not going to copy you to get your people. We're going to go back to the old-fashioned gospel of Jesus Christ, and we're going to declare a war on wrong and evil and communism and gold and alcohol and miniskirts. If we don't, we're gone. And there's more to this than a rabble-rousing preacher, though that's part of it. But there's more to this than a rabble-rousing preacher standing up and busting his lungs trying to scream against rock music. There's a nation at stake. And if we don't do something about it, we're gone. I mean, we're gone. Kids, teenagers. Now, of course, many of you are in our high school now. But last year we had no high school. How many of you knew of somebody who you have known of someone in your school who peddled dope, and if you wanted to get some dope, you have known at least one source to get it? Would you raise your hand, please? Look over there. Way up high. Way up high. Look over there. That's what we're facing. Where do these kids get their desire for dope? They get it from a civilization that is trying to cater to this kind of filth. You said, what can be done? I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure at this late in the game if anything can be done to save our nation. But if anything can be done, it'll be done because we get preachers to change. That is the only hope we have. I'll be honest with you. The hardest thing we do here is the pastor's school. The hardest thing we do. I gave my life years ago to trying to reach preachers. I preached last year to over 18,000 different preachers across this country. I traveled day and night, literally day and night. I preach sometimes when I absolutely feel I can't get through. The other night, just a few nights ago, I was in a certain city. I had preached 9 times in one day. Every time the preachers. I opened my door to go in my room that night, and I'll be honest, I said to myself, Jack, I wonder if you've got enough strength left to make it to the bed. I don't like to travel. I don't like motels or restaurants. And I don't like a lot of the inconveniences. But years ago, I got the idea that if we were going to help this country, we had to help preachers. Won't you pray this week that we can help these preachers? It's a serious matter with us. Serious matter. The other night, I was preaching to a group of preachers. And as I stood to speak, I prayed for God to help me to change the preachers. As I stood to speak, I looked at my watch. There's a different time zone than this. I looked at it, and it was the time for the tip-off of our high school basketball game. My boy plays guard on the team. And I said to myself, I wouldn't do this for anything in all the world except to save my country, do my part to save America. I love these kids over here. Every one of them knows. They know I won't take anything, but they know I love them. They know it. Don't you? They know I do. I spend much of my time talking and counseling and preaching and hoping and praying. And I want them to have a decent chance to grow up in an America like we grew up in. I want them to have freedom. And if they do, we're going to have to cry out loud and spare not about the evils of our day. There ought to be 5 or 6 or 7 or a dozen families tonight walk down this aisle and say, I'm going to join a church like this. Get out of these worldly, liberal, rock music churches. Have dances and skating rinks and card parties and striptease shows and everything else. Get out of them! What you say for George is buried in the backyard. Dig him up, bring him over here, we'll bury him in the alley. Get out! Come out from among them, be ye separate, saith the Lord. And then tonight, you are listening to this kind of dirt. I mean, if you've got pictures of these trashy people, if you're reading these dirty magazines that promote this kind of stuff, this altar just fits your needs.